Well, you've obviously heard about the Telkom thing that came out on Friday, the interdict, and also an intraday trading share drop of 7% on Friday, which suggested investors were more than concerned.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like Telkom just cannot get really any good news out into the market from its bastions. The ZTE development just, will maybe not a great event at this point in time. It really depends on how it evolves. But effectively, Telkom is trying to begin the deployment of its of various elements of its next generation network to make it more competitive against various competitors in the market. I think particularly when it comes to database services and serving the corporate market segment going into the future. And it obviously wants that budget has been approved. It wants to get it started as quickly as possible,
yeah.
and this is just putting another delay, spending in the works.
What do we know of this company? I mean, is this an interdict application of substance? Is it?
Well, ZTE ZTE itself is a Chinese telecommunications equipment manufacturer, and they've been one of the two Chinese companies, together with Huawei, that have been beginning to dominate Africa in terms of providing telecommunications equipment to various operators, service providers around the continent. ZTE its presence is smaller than Huawei, but it has been quite extensively involved with various government projects, and also in South Africa, more with Cell C deployment of its mobile broadband network. And obviously, I think it has provided some equipment to Telkom for testing purposes, and it would appear now that, from what I gleaned, that it has been forbidden, so to speak, to participate in a bid to bid for the provision of or supply of this equipment, sale of that equipment to Telkom in the future. So obviously it wants to stop that and have an ability to also participate in any bids to sell equipment to Telkom.
How does this affect perceptions of Telkom? Because on the one hand, it was the operator, the incumbent. It had the great advantage of owning the network. Lots of issues about whether it should have been allowed to have monopoly over some of that, undersea cables and so on. And there's a view that partly because it was government shareholding, as we were saying to Sasha just now, it was not flexible, not nimble, and it's never really caught up with the Vodacoms and the MTNs, but it still has competitive advantages. So this is a setback for it, but big picture, what are Telkom's prospects?
It certainly is a setback, and as you said, also the fall in the price of the share on Friday, and that's, I think, really on the back of the fact that Telkom's results are not, I mean, we knew they would probably be worse than they were last year, financial results, and the years before, but it would appear, I think, that they are maybe significantly worse now from what they've preliminarily announced, and the market, I think, just reacting to that news, even though some of that may have been already built in. But Telkom still remains competitive in a number of market segments, and it does have the most extensive infrastructure, including fiber optic infrastructure in the country. It is, when it comes to the corporate market segment, large companies, corporations, it is one of the better service providers there, coming up with new products on the basis of the network it's been deploying. It's becoming price competitive. The quality of service is quite good from Telkom when we look at the enterprise market segment. So in general, I think it is quite different to what the average consumer in the street may know Telkom as, where it hasn't been nearly as competitive or catering to its subscriber base. And obviously, when looking in juxtaposition to mobile operators, it's nowhere near in terms of extent of its customer base that the mobile operators doesn't reach as far. But it can really, I think, have good prospects going forward in the corporate market segment and also on the wholesale side as a wholesaler.
So it sounds like you're saying there's value there because with uncertainty at the moment and that share volatility on Friday, but long-term value still?
I think long-term value still. Obviously, it's I think reached hopefully the bottom of very low levels in comparison to previous years. So from going forward, it should be able to build positive on where it is now, and certainly in terms of its I think strategy and intended future participation in the market, new products, services, and engagement in the market. Now, obviously, it comes to execution and Telkom's really ability to to be outward looking and competitive against competitors that are increasing in numbers and also in the savvy in the market and the access to other infrastructure apart from Telkom's infrastructure. Competitors that will no longer be Telkom's clients necessarily in the future to provide services to end users. So there are a number of factors that Telkom needs to contend with. I think it has value going forward, but that value needs to be acted on and extracted out of that operation.